We haven't seen nothing yet. We are still just at the tip of this revolution. The entire liberal democratic system is built on philosophical ideas we've inherited from the 18th century, especially the idea of free will, which underlies the basic mottos of the liberal worldview, like the voter knows best, the customer is always right, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, follow your heart, do what feels good. All these liberal mottos, which are the foundation of our political and economic system, they assume that the ultimate authority is the free choices of individuals. This was okay for the last 2 or 3 centuries, because even though free will was always a myth and not a scientific reality, I mean, science knows of only 2 kinds of processes in nature. It knows about deterministic processes and it knows about random processes. And their combination results in probabilistic processes. But randomness and probability, they are not freedom. They mean that I can't predict your actions. Now, up till now in history, the humans were so complicated that from a practical perspective, it still made sense to believe in free will. Because nobody could understand you better than you understand yourself. You had this inner realm of desires and thoughts and feelings which you had privileged access. The privileged access now belongs to corporations like Google. They can have access to things happening ultimately inside my body and brain which I don't know about. There is somebody out there, not just one, all kinds of corporations and governments, that maybe not today, maybe in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, they will have privileged access to what's happening inside me, more privileged than my access. They could understand what is happening in my brain better than I understand it. You don't have to give them permission.
You can search the web with real and organic search results and do it without anyone tracking your activity or data. We ourselves use Atlas VPN to protect our data online. Atlas VPN is more than just any other VPN. It blocks all malicious links, ads and trackers and notifies you when someone is trying to spy on or steal your data. If you want to grab Atlas VPN, they have a great deal going on right now for just $1.70 a month and 6 months extra for free. We've provided a link in the description you can use to grab this deal. Try it out with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Not only does it protect your data, it also keeps your searches completely private. Also, protect unlimited devices at once. No limits are set. One subscription only for the best price. That's why we use Atlas. Oh, did we forget to mention it saves you a lot of money booking online? It's that easy. Grab Atlas VPN using the link in the description and secure your data today.
In some countries, maybe you have no choice at all. But even in a democracy like the United States, a lot of the information that enables an external entity to hack you, nobody asks you whether you want to give it away or not. Now, at present, most of the data that is being collected on humans is still from the skin outwards. We haven't seen nothing yet. We are still just at the tip of this revolution, because at present, whether it's Google and Facebook and Amazon, or whether it's the government or whatever, they are trying to understand people mainly on the basis of what I search, what I buy, where I go, who I meet. It's all external. The really big revolution, which is coming very quickly, will be when the AI revolution and machine learning and all that, the infotech revolution, meets and merges with the biotech revolution and goes under the skin.
The microchip actually in his hand. The tiny implant is the latest advance in a biohacking technology.
It serves as his keys, his ID, and his wallet.
When biometric sensors or even external devices, now we are developing the ability, for example, to know the blood pressure of individuals just by looking at them. You don't need to put a sensor on a person. Just by looking at the face, you can tell what is the blood pressure of that individual. And by analyzing tiny movements in the eyes, in the mouth, you can tell all kinds of things from the current mood of the person. Are you angry? Are you bored? To things like sexual orientation.
Biometric systems can recognize a person's specific physical attributes, their fingerprints, facial features, iris or retina. The technology is already used around the world.
So we are talking about a world in which humans are no longer a black box. Nobody really understands what happens inside, so we say, okay, free will. No, the box is open, and it's open to others, certain others, more than it is open to you. You don't understand what's happening in your brain, but some corporation or government or organization could understand that. This is maybe the most important thing to know about living right now in the 21st century, that we are now hackable animals. We have the technology to decipher how humans, or what you think, what you want, to predict human choices, to manipulate human desires in ways which were never possible before. Basically, to hack a human being, you need two things. You need a lot of data, especially biometric data. Not just about where you go and what you buy, but what is happening inside your body and inside your brain. And secondly, you need a lot of computing power to make sense of all that data. Now, previously in history, this was never possible. Nobody had enough data and enough computing power to hack human beings. Even if the KGB or the Gestapo followed you around 24 hours a day, eavesdropping on every conversation you had, watching everybody you meet, still they did not have the biological knowledge to really understand what's happening inside you, and they certainly didn't have the computing power necessary to make sense even of the data they were able to collect. So the KGB could not really understand you, could not really predict all your choices or manipulate all your desires and so forth. But now it's changing. What the KGB couldn't do, corporations and governments today are beginning to be able to do. This is because of the merger of the revolution in biotech. We are getting better in understanding what's happening inside us, in the body, in the brain. And at the same time, the revolution in infotech, which gives us the computing power necessary. When you put the two together, when infotech merges with biotech, what you get is the ability to create algorithms that understand me better than I understand myself. And then these algorithms can not just predict my choices, but also manipulate my desires and basically sell me anything, whether it's a product or a politician. One of the things many people don't realize about the AI revolution and the automation revolution, they imagine it as some kind of one-time event. We have the big AI revolution in 2025. You have all these truck drivers and taxi drivers and doctors and whatever losing their jobs. You have a few difficult years of adjustment. And then eventually you have the new, brave new world of AI with a new equilibrium. And this is an extremely unlikely scenario because we are nowhere near the maximum potential of AI. The speed in which it develops is only likely to accelerate. So what we are really going to face is a cascade of ever bigger revolutions in the job market and in many other areas of life, relationships, politics, and so forth. So you have a big disruption in 2025, you have an even bigger disruption in 2035, an even bigger one in 2045, and so forth. And if you look, say, at the job market, so okay, you were a truck driver and they no longer need you, but there is new demand for yoga teachers, so you somehow reinvent yourself at age 40. I'm no longer a truck driver, now I'm a yoga teacher. It's very difficult, you somehow do it. 10 years later, no need of yoga teachers, thank you very much. We now have these amazing applications connected with biometric sensors to your body. They know exactly what you're doing with every tiny muscle. As you do this posture or that posture, no human yoga teacher can compete with that. You're out of job. You have to reinvent yourself again as a designer of virtual world games. And you do it somehow. But 10 years later, you have to do it again because this too has now been automated. And even if you get support from the government and there is all these education for adult system, the really big question is, again, it's psychological. Do we as human beings have the mental stability and the emotional intelligence necessary to reinvent ourselves repeatedly? And when you're 20, what you're doing is basically to reinvent yourself or to invent yourself for the first time. And it is very difficult. When you're 30, it's even more difficult, but you somehow do it. But when you get to be 40, 50, 60, it becomes more and more difficult. You have more to let go of. I've invested so much in building this career, this personality, these skills. To give it all up and start again from anew, it's so difficult. So I don't know whether we can do it.